Hello, Internet. How are we doing today? How is everyone doing? Good morning, guys. Good morning, Jay.
Morning.
Morning.
Wait, who's that guy?
So,
I don't know.
welcome
Who
to
is that
another
guy?
Saturday morning with Shadow Watch, live D&D session that we do here with this wonderful group of individuals, plus one. It's kind of kind of one of those spur of the moment. Decided to join in because the seat was open. So, hey, gotta love it. We're gonna have some fun today. A couple of quick housekeeping things before get too far into it. Number one, want to thank Syrinscape for the background musics and soundboards. Obviously, you're not listening to that just now. This is Stream Beats, DRM free music that you can use for your videos and streams. But now we'll flip over for Syrinscape. And this is a new set I literally just made an hour ago for Shadow Watch. So since we're in the Underdark. So go check out Syrinscape.com for all the various soundboards and background musics you can use for your tabletop games. I want to shout out and a thanks to the community, all your support so far, the bits, the subs, all of those things. Really appreciate it. Keep doing it. We love it, and it'll keep us doing great things like this. I want to do a plug real quick for our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/Scuba Studio and join there if you want to continue to support the studio. When we get to 100 patrons, I have this wonderful puzzle box from Mithril Armory. They were kind enough to send me. So we will give that away to the patrons as soon as we hit 100 patrons. So go check it out. We got a variety of tiers you can choose from. Also, if you want to check out more of the world that we're playing in, Kofin, please go to World Anvil and check out Kofin. There should be a link here in the chat. Gotta love the moderators. So a shout out and a thanks to the moderators. Also, real quick reminder, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Challenge Accepted Season 3 kicks off. We've got a new, old and new crew coming in for this. And we're picking up 6 months after the events that ended in Season 2. So we'll see what the party's been up to, who joins, who do they run into, and what shenanigans they get into. Pretty much it for those announcements. How are you guys doing today? You have your biscuits and gravy as usual?
Absolutely, along with a nice latte.
I wish. I just woke up.
I understand that.
I got my tea, so I'm good.
I'm
fine.
excited. I had some breakfast, got my coffee, and of course, excited for our delightful guest, our beloved and benevolent DM.
Yeah, you're letting the ground
Not today.
Not today.
No.
That is true.
I always think it's really fun to see somebody who's usually kind of stuck in the DM role get to make a character and play a character. So, no pressure, but I'm super excited to see what you can do in your player.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I played in a D&D game.
No way.
Crichton.
Really?
Was it Crichton?
Probably. Yeah,
Wow.
probably. I think.
That's
I
interesting.
don't
gosh,
remember.
good one.
On a stream, yeah.
All the other ones have been Cyberpunk recently, haven't they? It's been a different theme.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like the, always, once a bridesmaid, always a bridesmaid, whatever it is.
Always a bridesmaid.
I was
never a
never the
bride,
bride, yeah.
Yeah. I'm always a DM, never a player. So.
I'm glad you joined us. Not quite sure what spawned that, but maybe it was the podcast episode. Who knows?
Yeah, it was.
Either way, always glad to have people come and join. Oh, another quick reminder: the way with this one is again our benevolent and malevolent tricksters. You can influence the stream by throwing bits and channel points and direct donation, all of those things. So,
just remember though that I control your beloved players on our stream. So
that wasn't even settled. That was just an overt threat right there.
I control the beloved players of the fate of our beloved players on our stream. So, just kidding.
I'm
Do as
sorry.
you will.
fine.
But they're
Oh,
pretty
that's
good.
so
They're pretty good. I mean, Shrag has had nothing but wonderful luck with the tricksters over the last couple of streams. So, I mean, what could go wrong?
That just means his luck's ready to run out.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
afraid of.
Everything's fine.
We'll see. Poppy Bear 1, thanks for the follow. Shrag, you get a inspiration die right off the bat.
Starting it out. I like it.
So is that the D6, the D4 one? I can never remember.
That is a D4. Tricksters, when
Awesome.
Tricksters gift you inspiration, it's a D4 that you can use, but it's only good for this stream.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Quiller. Thank you kindly.
I was just
How about-
testing. I'm using the same dice I use when I DM, and they're still good.
Excellent.
It'd be
It's a
loads of
13, a
fun.
15, and an 18. So I think we're doing okay.
Alrighty, so to bring it in on this, you guys have ventured into you've been in the Underdark for a couple of days now. The gnomes that you were asked to help collapse the tunnels on the northern side of their enclave have were kidnapped, and you had gone to follow them, coming into what appears to be the nesting ground or home base for a group of Driders and about a dozen or so giant spiders. After a very nail-biting and harrowing and taxing confrontation, as the last Drider tried to escape through a waterfall and river, and a last shot dropped him in, and his body kind of just came down the river, came down the waterfall. You guys are all taking stock of the situation and getting ready to find out which of these cocoons that you had seen during the battle could house your your charges. And as you're sitting there standing there taking stock, you notice that off to the right side, or to the left side, there's the river kind of curves around and goes into another tunnel. Near that tunnel, as you guys are sitting there, you notice a creature come out of the tunnel near the water and just kind of start sniffing around.
What kind of a creature? Bipedal?
It's quadruped type creature. Go ahead and give me a nature check.
Do you want everybody or just Will?
Will's the first one who said something, but
Evan,
I'll try to
You
figure
guys
out what
know.
it is.
okay.
off to a bad start.
Oh, I'll be able to see it for the mushrooms.
Nature.
Getting
Yeah,
distracted with the plant.
11. I don't think
Yeah,
The plant.
I only got a 9.
What is happening with our rolls?
Well, with those rolls, you can tell that it's not a creature you normally see in the Underdark. You normally see these creatures up a little closer to the surface, a little in like forested areas and hilly areas. But what it looks like is appearing is a giant badger. Comes out of the tunnel, starts kind of looking around. What does the badger do?
The badger kind of starts to begin to sniff around. Does it notice the party?
Give a perception for the badger.
Yeah, let's do that. How do I use this D&D Beyond thing again?
Click the button next to the stat.
Yeah, the little
Are you kidding? He's going to roll his
box.
up.
That's a 13.
Yeah, he noticed there's some creatures off to the side from where he came out.
Staring at it.
They're literally just at the end of their battle, so they're kind of breathing heavy and kind of not being extremely stealthy because they're super excited. They killed the last Drider.
Yeah.
Do they appear to be a threat at present?
Not necessarily. A couple of them are a few of them are looking over at the badger and just kind of trying to piece together why a badger would be down in this deep in the Underdark.
Right.
the rest of you do. I don't want to keep speaking for you. So how do you react to seeing this badger come out?
I was gonna say one of the things that Anarion's gonna do is look across and try to, because it is such an odd occurrence, is it possible to see, is there an insight roll or something I could do to figure out, is this gonna be a hostile creature toward the party or not, and what the heck it might be doing down here?
Yeah, you can do an insight. Oh, and
I-
Volkin,
15?
you have an inspiration die gifted from Paladin Introvert?
Plaid introvert.
Plaid introvert.
Plaid introvert?
Plaid introvert.
Who got that? Sorry.
You.
Plaid Introvert gifted
Oh.
you an inspiration, so you have a D4 inspiration for when you might need it.
Awesome.
That'll be 15 for the insight on Anarion.
The badger doesn't appear to be threatening.
How big
Yeah, I
is this
mean-
badger?
Yeah, how big is this thing?
It's
It-
like a medium-sized creature. It's a big badger.
Person-sized badger.
Yes. Yeah, and it just kind of starts to sniff the air in your direction.
So Shrag's not able to see much because of all the mushrooms in the way, so he's going to like turn to Hillary and say, "What's going on? Like, what do you see?"
There's a. Can I pick you up? I don't want to assume.
Yeah, go for it.
Put you on my shoulders. Look, be careful with these things. They really don't give a crap.
Can I ride it?
Ah! Wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
What is it doing?
Why didn't you ask them to find out?
Oh, and you should, Jay, you should have control of the badger. If you want to go ahead, you should be able to control him
Yeah.
and move him.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, currently, he's just at the mouth of the cave, right?
Yes.
Currently, he has just stopped and he's watching. He's kind of completely kind of zoned in, watching if they do anything, watching if they're a threat, and sniffing the air.
Okay.
Scoob, how do you want me to chat with you specifically? What do you have open there? Zoom will be tough, but
I've got just about everything, but probably the Zoom chat will probably be the easiest.
You
okay.
can
So that's the hard. Yeah, it's okay.
That's the hard one for Jay.
What's
That's the
easier
hard
for
one for
you?
me.
How about that?
Discord. I've got you. I sent you a PM in Discord.
Okay.
So, Vulcan, just so you'll know, I'm sitting on a broom of flying, so I'm probably 20 feet up.
And just to try to get a better angle, better view, Anarion's going to move up toward the waterfall area to see if I can get a little closer, get a better look at the badger over there, find out what he's up to.
Shrag's going to say to Will to put him down, and he's going to reach into his backpack and he's going to pull out the saddle. And he's going to get
God.
some food out and start moving towards the badger in like a non-threatening manner,
Draggy.
like sort of food held out in front.
Shrag, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
And can
We're
I get
friends.
can I get descriptions of all of you?
Oh yeah. I guess we should do that.
Probably be a good idea, yeah.
So you see walking towards you a slightly larger than average goblin, thanks to your pickle. He's got a big red floppy wide-brimmed hat, a little bit scorched in places, leather armor. He looks a little bit sooty, and he's got a big book under one arm, and he's got a saddle under the other, and he's like sort of juggling stuff around. He's getting some food out. Probably more like kind of like your more koboldy looking goblin rather than sort of your traditional big nose ones. And he's just slowly coming towards you in a non-threatening manner.
Holding a saddle.
Holding a saddle. You left out the piece where you're holding a saddle.
That's a book and a saddle, and I'm shuffling things around and getting some food out. It's all fine. It's what could possibly go wrong.
Anarion is a high elf, or excuse me, a Ladrin elf in appearance, and he's basically decked out in armor and carrying a weapons load. So looks to be a fighter or paladin of some sort.
I am a shortish human, like caramely skin, long black hair. I'm in red and blue armor that is accented with gold. But the most noticeable thing is that my right arm and my right leg are metal. And there is a tattoo that is carved into the arm and then goes onto my shoulder and like up my neck. And I have a glowing holy symbol hanging from my neck.
And I am a dark black tabaxi. You can't really tell, but I have white spots on me because it's covered in armor and a robe or a cloak, a dark cloak. Carrying primarily light weapons, so probably some type of a roguish stealth type person. And again, currently he's sitting on a broom staring at you.
And he's up 20 feet, you said?
About 20 feet up.
Okay.
Yeah,
How high is the roof in here, Scoob?
The roof is about 30 feet high at its peak. It's kind of a dome cavern type thing. You have this. You hear the sound of. You see there's a waterfall that's coming down, and the stream kind of splits into around a little island full of mushrooms. The mushrooms the fungi that's growing there is roughly about medium size, so it's a difficult terrain sectioner. And then the river, and then the stream comes back down, and then exits into another cave, presumably heading deeper on its path.
Okay.
Also you see there's at the base of the waterfall, slightly drifting down, is a Drider corpse. In the little island of fungi, there's a giant spider corpse. And then over near where the stream connects again, there is looks like some kind of plant-based creature. It's a gas spore corpse. You would be familiar with those from your experiences around in the area.
The badger actually sits on its big puffy bum, and just watches very, very intently as the goblin approaches.
So let's try to come a little bit closer. It's like a handful of like food held out towards you. It's like, hey, friend, another food, friendly.
As you approach within, I'm assuming each square is 5 feet.
Yes.
As you approach where you are within 5 feet from the shadows, just down and to the left of you, you hear a voice say,
Oh, okay, that didn't sound friendly.
Greg, what languages do you speak?
I'm covering Goblin and Common and Thieves' Cant.
And
Well,
you
Also,
there's also the broken Undercommon.
well, and Anarion and I do wear our helms in this area because we don't know.
Roll perceptions to see if you can hear the voice speaking to Shrag, given your distance.
21.
I got a nat 20, so 28.
Anari, you'd hear it a little clearer than Obsidian. Obsidian, it's just like a faint whisper over the sound of the water and whatnot. So Anari, you hear a few of the words.
yeah, you make out in Undercommon, not one step closer.
So I'll give
Shrag.
Shrag, hold up.
Okay. This didn't sound good. That didn't come from the badger.
Shrag, take a step back.
This whole time, I've been like 15 feet behind Shrag, just kind of hovering like a worried mom.
Go and move your token, Hillary.
I will take that step back.
Where's Nat in all this?
She's floating just to the right of me. She's like floating nearby.
What is Nat?
Nat is it is a kind of a little apparition of his awakened spellbook that looks disturbingly familiar to Tasha, only with dark hair.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And at this point, the badger kind of lies down and puts its chin on its paws, and you see these long kind of badger claws that come off the front. But right now, seemingly calm and unthreatened.
Since there's currently no hostile actions or seem to be any hostile intent, Anarion will go ahead and put away his bow back into his quiver.
Did I hear the voice?
I'll go and roll a perception.
18.
Yeah, you would hear it. Do you understand Undercommon?
Nope.
And I'm
So you would have just heard. You would have heard just that faint gibberish.
Who goes there? Is there somebody there?
I'm going to call out in Undercommon and say, if ye be friend, come forward and show yourself.
sorry, guys, I lost you for a sec there.
And Arion's going to shout out in Undercommon, if ye be friend, come out and show yourself.
I'm going to attempt to throw my voice at this point, Scoob, just to try and not allow them to pinpoint where I am.
All right, go ahead and give me a performance check.
These aren't good. That's only a 9.
You want countered with insight, or how do you want to play that, Scoob?
You have
Yeah,
inspiration.
go ahead and actually go ahead and counter with a perception.
Perception. Well, you can have your choice of an 18 or a 19 for a 26 or a 27.
Jeez.
I got lucky on that one. It was an 18 and a 19 roll of advantage.
So
because of
Volkin,
the
you
shield.
do attempt to throw your voice, but unfortunately, what do you say when you throw your voice?
I say, and those that understand me hear, what brings you down here?
And Anari, you hear the voice, but you realize it's you pinpoint the direction it's coming from.
So I'll actually respond back in the direction that the true voice is coming from, not the throne voice, and say back in Undercommon, we come seeking certain items that we were contracted to recover, and we were protecting some deep gnomes and had to rescue them from the Driders that you see dead about the area, and their minions, the spiders.
Now, of course,
Be
at this point,
friend,
Volkin,
come
you can
forward.
only see one Drider and one spider, and yet Anari is speaking about plural.
Okay. And at this point, I'll just speak in English. It's not common, though. It is still Undercommon. But I'll just speak it that way for those of you that can understand it. But anytime I'm speaking from now on, it'll be Undercommon, just like in any fantasy or sci-fi
Oh
film.
yeah.
Where they just
There's
start
no
speaking
universal
English.
translators.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
Vikings. Everybody speaks English at some point. Anyways, and he says, "What kind of items?"
Can I do
Arian?
insight to try to determine from the question if it's kind of the purpose of if he's going to be seeking the same type of item, or if it's something that I should keep just as a group knowledge?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
14 plus 19.
Ooh.
Okay. What's the intent?
Just trying
Yeah.
to determine
Oh.
if this is something that I should share with him in terms of precisely the items that we're looking for, or if it's something that I should probably just keep as a group until we get to know him a little bit better.
That's fair. Vulcan, what's your intent behind the question?
You hear curiosity in your intent, not so much curiosity in the items itself.
Okay. With that understanding, then I would say, in Undercommon back. We were contracted to find the Shards of the Day, and we are endeavoring to do so. In that process, we befriended these deep gnomes and are temporarily assisting them.
Have I heard of these, Scoob? And also, how do I feel about deep gnomes?
Give me a history check.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And
But
there goes
One
the
more
first one.
magic on tap.
Oh, boy.
That is 12.
You just arrived. You arrived in this ancient dwarven city, essentially a few days to a couple of weeks before coming across the party.
Yeah.
You'd seen this little enclave of deep gnomes. The other of your race in the area have been rather cruel to them, so they're not exactly on good terms. You've also
Right.
seen the mind flayers roaming around. You know that this group of you actually did see a group of gnomes get captured shortly after your arrival, and then so you are aware there is an enclave. You're not sure how many, you're not sure how established, but you are aware that in this city there is a group of them, just like there is a group of your race, as well as drow and mind flayers in the area in the city.
Okay.
Not
So
sure
I
the
don't.
precise locations just yet.
We're not threatened by deep gnomes. In fact, it's kind of the opposite for my people.
Yes.
Okay. To that I respond. Clearly, these items are of value. To have a party such as yours.
Indeed, they are to the right people.
To these deep gnomes.
Not to the deep gnomes. However, these deep gnomes do have information for us about one of the items, which is why we are assisting them to try to get that information.
Did you tell me who you're getting these items for?
I just said we were contracted.
Contracted.
Who has contracted you?
One of the surface dwellers.
Okay, he contemplates that for a second.
What are you guys saying?
I'm gonna float on down to Hillary and Shrag and do a little translation.
I was going to say I'd signal Obsidian, since he understands, to go ahead, and I'll try to maintain the communication, and then Obsidian can relay.
Have you shown yourself yet, Jay? I mean,
No. The voice seems to be coming from the pile of rocks down in the left corner, for those of you that were able to perceive my lack of performance.
So down in this area,
yeah, down in that area there. It's originating from that area, but
So-
I haven't shown myself yet.
So Shrag's going to turn to Obsidian and go, "Can I at least feed the badger? Got to food out now."
And what are you speaking common at this point?
Yeah, just speaking common.
Okay.
Yeah. Obsidian, do you think it'll be okay? I've got it out now. And like guiltily puts like the saddle behind his back.
Yeah. Do I get a sense of the party's disposition? From what they've said, do I glean their kind of intent here? Do I sense any sort of hostility? They've obviously killed enemies that are my enemies, but I'm just trying to figure out, kind of dig a little deeper into their intentions.
They seem a little reserved in
Okay.
as far as they're not they're not really open to sharing all the details from what you gathered. There's still some things they're being reserved about, just being cautious.
Yeah.
But they don't appear to be overly threatening
Right.
or hostile.
We're not murder hobos.
That we know of.
That we know of.
That.
Well, we know Willhelmina's not.
That being said, you do know that one of the outposts of your race that is in the area, there was quite a large presence. So the fact that you only know of the one entrance to the surface. So if them coming through there, obviously there would have been a clash with your people.
Yeah.
And the fact that the 4 of them are here now.
Yeah.
Knowing that where your people were, there was quite a few. So you're not sure how they got past.
Yeah.
But it seems it seems interesting that they did get past.
Okay.
Shrag's gonna suddenly just like sort of tilt his head to one side, and then suddenly like sort of like a look of dawning inspiration. He's like, "Guys, the gnomes. You know what we're actually here for?"
Anarion, you keep talking. We're going to start looking. So, Screw, we would like to start finding cocoons to open.
Okay.
Just
Try
before
and get our friends out.
just before Shrag wanders off, he's gonna put on that sort of corner next to the water. He's going to go wander over and put the food down, and then head off.
Want to feed the furry.
What kind of food do you leave out?
I'd probably like sort of trail ration-y kind of bits and pieces, just sort of what we've got in our packs with us.
Hardtack.
Obviously.
And where do you leave that, sorry?
So let me just ping that. So probably on like the corner about there, just near to where Shag is before he wanders off.
And it's obvious that the rest of the party is somewhat lost interest in kind of the threat that I pose at this point.
Pretty much. I would say that's a pretty fair assessment.
I'm not sure how to take that.
Well, you see one stay, and you see the other 3 start to move back toward this entrance right here.
Okay.
Are there any cocoons in this area?
Say again, Shad?
Are there any cocoons in this area that we're in now?
That area you're in now, no.
Okay.
All the cocoons and whatnot appear to be in the worked stone kind of complex area. Volkin, as you kind of watch and then lead to your vision leads to where they're going. You look through that opening and you see another Drider body, another giant spider. Make sure I got your feet. And you can see just a couple of legs and bits of more giant spiders further in to the into this kind of worked area. You can tell from the look of it that it looks like it's a lot like the rest of the city. It's old dwarven construction.
Yeah.
Surface dwarven construction.
Okay.
Just as a note, I don't want to move too far from Anarion, and you do see the little short human person just kind of keep looking back to you. Like, I'm trusting Anarion that if he thinks everything's okay, but I'm also like, my hand is sitting relaxedly on my weapon, and I'm just like,
Nat. Also, Nat's going to stay behind. She's going to like hover in amongst the mushrooms on the island, and then keep an eye on the food.
Okay. And Anarion has stayed put, or he moved as well.
I moved away from the badger and moved back down toward where I could get a better idea of where I thought the true voice was coming from.
Yeah.
But also in accordance with the party and how they're somewhat moving back into that open temple space to recover the cocoons. It would conform with that movement as well.
Okay.
And then just so you know, again, showing no hostile intent as I'm moving back, Scuba, I am going to actually take one of my potions of healing.
Okay.
At this point, Scuba, I'm gonna have the badger kind of lumber down.
Yeah.
Down to here, as it begins to kind of like kind of
Did it
just
stop
like saunter.
for the food at all that Shrag had,
Saunter
that
over.
the goblin had left out?
It came down and sniffed it and then kept going.
Okay.
Badger.
Inside
Not good enough food.
Obsidian and Shrag, each of you are standing next to a cocoon that is suspended up on the wall.
Okay.
Probably about 10 feet, give or take.
Okay, I'll get on my broom.
All right. You on your broom, you hover up to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
I'm
roll me a
going to-
d20.
Yeah. 11.
There appears to be some subtle movement, as if something is kind of lazily kind of shifting a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to take the dagger and try and cut towards the feet. I want to try and cut away the webbing and see if the shoes in the bottom half look familiar.
All right.
Hey, Anarion, why don't you tell your new friend to come out of the shadows?
I've asked him a couple of times, but he seems to be a bit shy. Perhaps if you join the others and it's just me, it will create less of a threat, and he might be able to come forward.
We should also get our gnome friend over here so he can help with this.
All right, I'll go try to find the other guy.
He used his racial ability to merge into the stone, and he was waiting until you gave him some kind of all clear signal.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go find him and let him know the bad guys are gone, and we need his help finding the rest of his friends.
All right.
He was somewhere down this area when we left him.
Yeah.
But that's very general. Quite where he is in that area, we don't know.
All right. So Obsidian, you notice that as you cut away some of the webbing, you do see a pair of small feet that appear to be gnome feet.
Just of interest, Scoob, would precipitation, so the cleaning elements of it, would that work to clean away the webbing?
I don't see why not.
Cool. I'm thinking we'll use that to, basically I can use that to clean stuff up, so rather than Obsidian having to use his knife to do it, I'll clean the patch the way we need, and then he's ready with the dagger to stab if we need to.
That's fair.
Scoob, realizing that they obviously don't seem too threatening and that they're just going to kind of move on, I'm going to have the badger come out in front of the rock pile, and then I'm going to make my way out the side, kind of these crystals here, and stand out beside my badger.
Alrighty. Hang on, let me pull you across.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Gotta love the dynamic lighting.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Once I see the figure come out of the shadows, what do I see?
You see a slight individual, and you've seen them before, Duragar, in nature. Short, kind of, but broad, fur over his shoulders, wears a hood pulled up, and you see the glimmer of scale mail that has a different sheen than just standard metal. He puts his hand on this large badger, and you can see that at his belt he's got 2 hand axes that kind of glimmer in the light that exists. And speaking of light, what kind of light do we have here, Scoop?
There's a little bit of ambient light from the crystals that are behind you, and other than that, there's just whatever light is in the area is natural due to underdark lichen and fungi. Other than that, it's completely dark.
There'll be a little bit coming off Nat as well. I can't remember exactly. Let me just double check what light comes off. I think it's only dim light.
Okay.
So I have that set for her.
So based on the description, Scoob, is this similar to what we encountered as we first came in terms of uniform, etc., or is this a different look?
It's a different look.
Okay.
Than what you've seen, but you do I mean, you killed enough Duergar coming into this area. You can totally tell what a Duergar is, but the fact that his armor and his stance is not like the Duergar that you have faced coming in.
And that was my concern, because if he was in any way associated with those that we first encountered, then I would definitely be changing to a guarded stance.
No, his stuff is actually a little bit finer quality than what you saw before. The ones that you guys saw were kind of like more of a soldier garrison or a mercenary group.
Got it.
So I mean, in that sense, it's similar, but the fact that theirs was a lot more uniformed across each of their armors. This guy, he looks totally. His stuff is different.
Okay.
You can tell it's dwarven made by the cut, but it is not the same one as you saw before.
Okay. I'll call across to him then, and with open hands, showing no harm or no ill intent. We seek no quarrel with you. We're here to recover those that we were sent to protect, and to continue our quest to obtain the items that we seek. If you have no ill will toward us, we have no ill will toward you.
Real quick, Shrag, did you actually cast prestidigitation on the webbing?
Yeah, so I'll have used that to just sort of clean it off, and once Obsidian confirmed it was actually a deep gnome.
Wild magic surge.
Need you to roll that D100.
Oh, that's a good call.
Because our wonderful friend Dish Pickle did that.
Yeah, it's a good call. That is a 55.
55.
I don't think I've had that one yet. I've had many others, but not maybe that one.
Oh my.
In response, I I say, I am but a simple hunter, looking for my next prey.
And what do you hunt?
Beasts, creatures, things of value.
Where the hell were you 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, then our purposes might be aligned.
And I look around kind of at the carcasses of the Driders and spiders. And I look back and I say, you seem to be a hunter as well.
Anarion will laugh. In certain aspects, we certainly are. Quite adept in some cases, and in others not so much. We've had some misfortune in obtaining the items that we seek, but we're making progress.
Then I also say, what such a waste to not harvest your kills. You seem more like killers than hunters.
We have harvested certain items from certain kills. Unfortunately, we don't have the means to harvest everything from everywhere. And Anarion will reach into his quiver of Alona and pull out some of the blades from the blade spiders and some of the other things that we've harvested from the different kills, just to display that we're not being wasteful. We simply don't have the means to collect everything, and then he'll put things back away.
Okay.
It might be good to point out, Anarion, that we literally just finished 10 seconds before he appeared. We haven't had time to do
the battle. Yeah.
Okay. How deep's this water here, Scoob?
It's only a few feet. When you saw the goblin walk by, it was actually kind of chest height for him as he walked through the water, and then come back. So
Yeah.
It'd be a little deep for you. It'd be a little deep for you to come by.
And there doesn't seem to be a spot to cross over without heading through the water, right?
Yes. You can kind of pick through and find a path to get across from some of the river stones that are in there that aren't quite as deep as it comes up to this area. Real quick, first thing, Shrag, all of your hair falls out and it'll grow back in about 24 hours.
Can't lose what I never had.
You notice that at one point you kind of like adjust your hat and you notice there's like whatever hair you had just all falls off. You know that feeling like right after you get a haircut, you always got those little bits that are like all over your shirt and everything?
You were just freshly bicked.
Traggle shrugging like, yeah, whatever. Probably think it's like pieces of the cobweb falling off.
And Shad, you have an inspiration for when you want to use it.
Great, thank you.
And there's a gift from the
Thank you.
tricksters. I just need Dispickle to tell me who it was for.
I think he said roll.
Favorite, can you roll?
E.
I'm gonna start to gingerly, kind of carefully make my way across the water. My badger just trailing behind me, and the badger just kind of heads through the water, wades through it, no problem. Kind of rolls around in it a little bit, and then comes up the other side and shakes off.
Like it.
Love it.
Down to here, this area here. And I'm just carefully kind of like not getting too close, but just kind of following behind, watching what they're doing. What's the closest carcass?
The closest carcass to what you're seeing would be right here, a giant spider.
Okay. I'm gonna head down to it, not with the intention of harvesting it myself because it's not my kill. But as I get to it, I want to get kind of behind it so that the front of me is facing the rest of the party. And I'm gonna kneel and just inspect it, and possibly what they did, how they killed it, all of that sort of thing.
At that point, you're actually kind of out of line of sight of the party.
Yeah.
Because there's a little area that is this little area right here is kind of where there's the rock wall comes in and the water seems to go down, and then you kind of go around it, so kind of out of sight of the party.
I was gonna say, seeing what he's doing and that at least we're making effort and he's coming forward. You know, again, I'm gonna try to extend some goodwill. I'll go ahead and move around to where he is.
Okay.
And then say, friend, perhaps you can show us how to properly harvest.
As he approaches, you can see my badger kind of turn like this, and the fur begins to go back on its neck and across its back, and its head kind of like goes low and looks up at you, and you hear a bit of a kind of a hiss that comes from it, but Volkin places his hand on the badger and it immediately calms. And he says, "Yes, it appears. Well, actually, first of all, what do I see from this spider? Has it just been killed, or has it been harvested, and how was it killed?"
It was
And this is when I love when people ask me what happened last session in a random encounter.
That's like this was actually like over a month or more ago, because that was at the very start.
December.
Yeah,
actually no, that one was killed. That one was killed by some impacts and bruising that caused several wounds. I believe that was one of the ones that Shrag had hit with the magic missile a couple of times, and then there was a couple of stab marks.
I was gonna say, wasn't that also the one that suffered damage from the spiritual weapon from Will?
Yeah. So it's got a lot of bruising and whatnot as it's there, and it's a fresh kill. I mean, there's still some nerve twitching
Yeah.
As the last little bits of whatever brain activity is there, and
Yeah.
you see there's the whatever blood hasn't even really coagulated yet. It's still kind of there, and you get that nice ripe smell of fresh death.
And
So not
just
not a clean kill by any stretch.
Oh
yeah,
no.
and with that Anarion will make the comment also that as you can see, this is a recent kill, and we were still engaged with other enemies and haven't even had chance to come back and make sure it's properly disposed.
Okay.
All right. So Scoob, this gnome that I found, is he breathing? Is he alive?
He's very lethargic. You can tell he's been poisoned.
Okay.
So he's stable, but he's unconscious.
Okay. I am going to cast Cure Wounds on him as part of my Artificer Initiate feat. And that'll give him 4 points of healing back.
Okay.
Hit points back.
With that, he starts to come. He starts to groggily wake up, but he's just gonna kind of sit there and still kind of work through that. Volkin, were you inspecting the body? Were you starting to inspect the body of the spider, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to inspect the body of the spider. I wanted to find out how it was killed. I want to find out if they harvested it at all. And then I'm gonna. What do I glean from that?
It is a fresh kill. It hasn't been processed, harvested. It's like it was one of it. Judging from the way it looks, give me an investigation check real quick. Shrag, you find in the webbing around the little the gnome that you just uncovered appears something that looks like a little metal crab of some type.
Ooh.
It's called a Vox Seeker. Gift from the Tricksters.
Ooh, thank you, tricksters.
Volkin, what'd you get?
That's a 19.
19. The kill hasn't been processed. Looking at it and looking at the other bodies around, like you see there's a couple more giant spiders. You can see through the cave entrance and around some columns a dead Drider and more spiders. It looks to you it looks like it was kill, move, and
Yeah.
it was you're starting to tally how many creatures this group just went through.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
Right.
And you can tell
Scoop
based on
59.
them, they look a little beat up and bruised. So you're starting to see it's like, oh well, that wasn't exactly a cakewalk.
Okay, good. So I stand after kind of looking at it, and Anarion, you're an elf, right? Is that right?
Correct.
What kind
Yes.
of elf?
Eladrin?
Okay.
Or that's the appearance, at least, as Eladrin elf.
Yeah. What's my history with elves, Scoob? And how do I feel about them?
You're used to seeing drow, and while drow's society has changed a lot over the centuries, you don't come across a whole lot of surface elves, and he looks different than what you've seen.
Okay.
You can tell you can see the similarities that he's an elf, but he's not. It looks like he's like an immigrant, so to speak.
Yeah. And is there any kind of I take a look at his gear, weapons, items, specifically paying attention to any sign that they've taken anything from the Duragar that I know exists close to the surface. Any sort of sense that there was a struggle or a fight or anything like that with them?
The only thing that I would have that would be of that nature would be the sword spider claws that we collected in the venom sacks.
And I'm assuming you're in a pack. They're in
Yeah,
a pack or something, right? They're hidden.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
What
you're
weapons and armor?
familiar. You're familiar that the Duergar and you're familiar with the blade spider. It's used by Duergar as mounts as well as trained guards, kind of like pack hounds. But they're not they're large creatures too, and the fact that he's got several, as he pulled out from the quiver, just pulling out that big bladed thing that's like the length of a spear.
So I did see it.
If you pulled out one of the blade spider bits, right?
Yeah, I think to show him that we had harvested something.
Yeah, you would have seen this
Mm.
blade spider bait, which is about the length of a spear.
Okay. And knowing obviously that they're used primarily by the Duergar for mounts and defense.
Yeah, mounts and defense, very rare. I mean, wild ones in this area are very rare.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not low. They definitely would have been here with the Duergar that you knew had set up a little garrison at the entrance.
So I'm going to say, so you met my people.
If you mean the dwarves that attacked us as we first arrived, I would say that perhaps we have. And I'll take a step back just in caution.
Okay. I'll take that step back in caution as a sign of some form of, not hostility, but apprehension. And I'm going to ready an attack action for my badger, just in case.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, would you not defend your home if strangers came into it?
We had no ill intent toward your people. We made no hostile movements toward your people.
Well, luckily, though we share lineage, they're not necessarily my people.
Then perhaps we didn't meet your people.
I don't have people. Morin is my people. And I nod towards the badger.
What was his name?
Morin.
Morin.
Lauren, I love it.
Because
I
he's a
absolutely
badger.
No giving away if you recognize the name. That's something for us to know.
Oh,
Nice,
that's
nice.
funny. That's
So while they're having this conversation, Obsidian, Will, and Shrag, what are the three of you doing? You found one gnome. Across from him, there's another cocoon that's about 5 feet in the air, suspended up.
Well,
So-
so I cast Cure Wounds. Does that trigger the other wild magic? I'm assuming.
There was another one? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
there was. Roll the D100. Tell me what you get.
It was 50. I rolled it earlier. It was 59.
59. You regain your lowest level expended spell slot.
Have I even
That's
used
a
my lowest
lucky
level
one.
expended spell slot? Oh, I have. Ooh, yay. That means one more Cure Wounds for our gnome friends. Thank you, Dishpickle.
That worked out.
Will, what about you?
So
I-
this gnome we're going to get this gnome down onto the ground. Is he healthy, breathing? I'm sorry.
He's just waking up. He's kind of in that, but he's a lot more aware than when you first uncovered him.
Okay.
Will?
I've kind of just been hovering between the two groups. 'Cause I
Okay.
don't want to let Anarion and this new guy out of my sight.
So you see that the two of them were talking, and they both took a step back, but they're still talking.
I'm gonna hover a little bit closer to those two.
Okay.
Hop
Brad,
back
what
up
about
in
you?
the room. Just kind of hover 5 feet off the ground, float around, head over to where those two are. Everything all right over here?
I'll nod to Willhelminia and give a safe sign for the moment.
And I look at the new guy. Can you understand me?
What are you speaking?
Common.
He looks blankly at you.
Okay. Hi. Will. Will.
The universal translation of speak slowly and louder.
Hello. I will. You.
Anarion's gonna chuckle, and then he's gonna ask in Undercommon. She's introducing herself as Will, and she's asking your name.
My name is Volkin.
And I
So-
just kind of the whole phrase that he just said. Volkin. Did I say that right?
And I nod. And then I kind of do a little like this to Morin, which in our kind of communication ability language means kind of check out, like it's okay. And Morin's gonna kind of come out in front, like low, not threatening stance, and is gonna come out and start to sniff Anarion.
Yeah.
And kind of do a circle around Anarion as he sniffs. Sorry,
I'd like
she. I said he.
Says she.
As she sniffs.
Oh,
Sorry.
Can I insight to? I mean, I'm gathering, I'm knowing what's going on, but just to make sure the character knows what's happening, can I do an insight check to see what this activity's for?
Don't roll one.
yeah. Go ahead and do an insight, and while you do that, Shrag, tell me what you've been up to.
Okay, so what's happening in the background is Nat is just sort of like just very subtly just floating around the edges again, keeping them in sight, but hovering at a safe distance. Just sort of nonchalantly just sort of like floating around. Obviously he's helping out with Obsidian with the gnome. I think once he sees these in a safe place, he's going to move over to the other cocooned one that's nearby. And again, we'll follow the same pattern of just clearing the webs away from just the feet to start with, so we can identify what it is first. And then obviously we'll then beckon Obsidian over.
All right. How are you clearing the webs again?
I'm going to use Prestidigitation. I shall roll you the D100.
Oh no, there's more wild
There's-
magic.
Yeah,
There's
he seems
another-
to be on the trigger there. While he does that, we'll chat. Obsidian, what do you do?
So I'd like to take this gnome on the broom and kind of fly him over into this area, just to kind of keep him away from any of the shenanigans that's going on. Just
Okay.
kind of set him down,
All right.
and then I'm going to fly back over to Shrag and help him with the next cocoon.
I rolled a 48 scoop. I have no idea what that is because I don't think we've had that one either.
Oh, no.
Okay. I will prep that up while you while we continue on.
Oh dear.
Prep it up. Oh no.
Why does this one require prep?
Oh no, and Yokai Bunny just gave inspiration to the DM.
Oh, thanks, Yokai.
It's fine. It's fine. I think it was Sakura earlier on actually already gave the DM a natural one.
Oh, fortunate.
Yep.
The insight scoop
What?
was an 18.
What?
Shrag, as you're sitting there, kind of pushing away the webbing, you all of a sudden feel a presence near you, and you hear the of like a horse, and you look over, and there's a unicorn that seems to just poof appear out of nowhere, standing next to you,
I'm going
Kinda
to turn
starts
very slowly.
looking
and look
around,
at-
rather confused.
Not more confused than Shrag, who's going to sit there and just go, I didn't order a mount. Not this time.
I have no words. This cocoon, is it on the floor or
Yeah,
is it in
it's
the
on
air?
the floor.
Shrag, why are you ordering mounts?
I did, but things happen.
Your saddle out.
So does the webbing appear to have gnome feet under it or something else?
Give me a d20.
Shraggy?
Huh? Unicorn? What?
Roll a d20.
I thought you were rolling. Sorry, my bad.
No,
Nope,
you're the
you
one
were the
who
one
started
clearing.
on this, so you should roll the d20. Tell me what you find.
Yep.
It's a 13.
13. All right. You notice a set of feet that are a little bit larger than gnome.
Do they look like Vulcan's feet?
Shrag, give me a history check.
Cool, okay. I will obviously point this out to Obsidian before moving any further with actually any more removal of fur. That's 16. That's a 20.
All right. They look like Grimlock feet.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I will motion to Obsidian towards the neck area and say, oh, Grimlock, kill it.
Before we even look at it, you want me to go ahead and just kill it?
Look at the feet, Grimlock. Big, nasty feet. Smelly. Smellier than mine.
You called a unicorn. Couldn't somebody have their feet changed?
Hey, I work with what I got.
All right. So I'm going to take my. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this without looking. I'm going to take the sword and run it through the guy's neck.
Yep. Nice coup de grace. Done.
So then we want to rip the webbing. I want to rip the webbing and make sure I actually did kill a Grimlock and not one of our gnome
Yeah,
friends.
you find a Grimlock sitting there.
Okay. And then I want to look around and see where the next cocoon is.
You have Cocoon right here.
And so that's where I'll head.
Can I pet the unicorn's nose?
Say again?
Can I pet the unicorn's nose?
Give me an animal handling check.
Uh-oh.
Don't roll a 1! Ah, I don't want to fight
Roll
you.
a 1. Roll a 1.
It's soft and velvety.
I'm gonna add my inspiration to that one. 10? Look, I rolled before.
It doesn't recoil from your attempt to touch it.
Cool.
So you're able to kind of brush up on it. It's a very clean fur. I mean, it's just like
It wasn't
So-
like sootified it.
All right. So meanwhile, back for Will, Anari, and Volkin. What are you guys doing in your little conversation?
Anarion rolled a 18 for the insight check on Morin sniffing about.
Investigative.
Okay, so I'm not going to recoil or take any defensive stance. I'll just allow him to do his thing, kind of like you would with a inquisitive dog.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
That'll work. And responding again, then back to Volkin saying, so you talked about harvesting kills. As you can see, we have not had time to do much in that regard. Would you care to show me what you would recover from this giant spider before you?
But yes, of course, but it is not my kill to harvest. I can show you what is valuable. And I'm assuming by this point, Morin's done her kind of circle.
Mhm.
Has she smelt anything different or interesting on Anarion that would be troubling for us?
How do you and Morin communicate?
Well, it's mostly like commands, just like myself and a dog would.
Okay.
But I'm just kind of, I do have the ability to communicate in different ways with her if I want to. But at this stage, I'm just reading. She's kind of doing a sniff like a dog would for illicit substances or things that are of interest. And then if she
Up the weed.
doesn't react in a way, then I'm cool. And if she's cool, I'm cool. Sort of situation. She's a good judge of character.
Have Morin roll a perception Since it's keen smell, I believe it's advantage.
Thank you. Oh, it's good because the natural one was the other one. That's only a 5.
Oh. I would say you have inspiration, but I don't think that would help.
Okay.
Morin seems to spend quite a bit of time sniffing at Anari.
Yeah.
And you kind of get an impression from Morin that she's smelling quite a mix of things.
Yeah.
Where she actually has to, like, you almost get the impression she's trying to sniff, double check, sniff, realize something else, sniff. I mean, there's a whole variety of smells that are surrounding Anari.
Yeah.
Smells of Umber Hulk, smells of Grimlock, smells of Hook Horror, smells of Troll, smells of I mean, there is a huge. I mean, this is like this huge menagerie of smells.
Yeah.
Associated with Anari and the rest of the party.
Okay.
It's like when a dog starts sniffing you, and then they get like really intense and start sniffing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's even a couple of faint things that you see. She's almost like trying to isolate.
Yeah.
Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
More like oil, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to, as per his request, I'm going to kind of, not even looking at him anymore, I'm going to get down and take out one of my hand axes as it kind of glitters and glows. And I'm going to start to harvest this spider. I'm assuming I've harvested spiders down here before.
Yeah.
You want me to roll something for that?
Survival check.
Oh, yeah. That's not great.
You need new dice, man.
These are the good dice.
I was going to say, he was saying these were the hot ones.
And I rolled it with my inspiration. That didn't help much. It's 12.
You can tell the bruising that the spider took. That some of the, like when you hunt and kill giant spiders, you know I target these areas that'll kill it and still preserve most of the carcass. This looks like somebody took a sledgehammer to an egg.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just it is really hard to pick out the good bits.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you can explain to him, hey, this is next time hit here.
Yeah. I say this is useless. You've destroyed it. Everything that is valuable is gone.
And Anarion will nod and say, understood. This unfortunately was not one of our hunts. This was something that we were ambushed by and reacted to.
I understand that. And I also understand that the difference between protection and protecting yourself and defending yourself and hunting. But I will teach.
I would be glad to learn. I'm not terribly familiar with this Underdark environ.
What is a giant spider? From like a creature class. It's not a beast, is it?
Yeah, it's a beast.
Okay. My favorite enemy is beasts. Beasts and aberrations. So I do have advantage on them to track them, as well as intelligence checks to recall information about them. So I'll just keep that in mind. Okay. At that, I'm just gonna call Morin back, even though she's still sniffing away. And I'm going to start in that direction, hoping that Anarion I kind of like motion for Anarion to go ahead.
Okay. While you're doing that, Obsidian, go ahead and roll the d20. Or I'm not going to make you roll the d20 on this. That particular carcass you look at is huge. Go ahead and give me a history. You can do a history or a nature check. I believe you're muted, my friend.
Yes, I was, because Bailey's over here whining. History is a +4, so I'm going to use that. It's a 22.
This carcass size looks to be like Umber Hulk size.
Ooh. We're going to leave this one alone.
No touching.
What's the next one?
That's the last one in that particular room. You'd have to move into one of the other rooms to find... Oh, wait, there's one more.
Here. And also, when I get here, I want to take a look at these crystals that we have been seeing and see if I can't figure anything out with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm distracted by the new guy, but I wanted to do that too.
Will, what about you? What are you doing?
Anarion, will you ask him if he's willing to help us? We have a lot of carcasses to go through, and he knows creatures down here as well as we do, if not better.
I'll translate into Underdark and say, the Driders captured some of our gnome that we were protecting, and we are trying to recover them. Would you be willing to assist us in checking the cocoons to recover our gnomes?
I can, yes.
Are there any in the room that we're currently in, Steve?
No.
Okay.
You found those two at the beginning when the fireball went off.
Okay.
Which, FYI for Volkin, you notice that as you kind of scan this area over here, and even underneath the carcass of the spider, it looked like there was some mold there that seemed to have shriveled up with extreme heat. Yeah. And you notice that all along the walls in this area, you see slight charring.
Slight.
Just a little bit.
In about
when I come around that stone wall into the kind of where it turns into stone tile and into the dwarven, it's a dwarven settlement, right?
Yes.
And I've never been here before?
No. You came into the area just a few weeks ago. You hadn't quite come to this area. You, in fact, were probably tracking the spiders.
Yeah. Okay. And did you say there's a live unicorn?
Yes. You see a live unicorn that is standing there, kind of looking about. You see the goblin kind of petting it, like completely lost on the fact it's there, but enjoying the fact that it's there. And it sits there for a little bit longer until it'll sit there for about a minute and then it'll vanish. Do you see it? And a few moments as you kind of get that, wait, why? It disappears.
Yeah, because that's game I would have liked to have collected.
That's what the chat just said. Is Jay gonna hunt the unicorn?
Yeah. Oh,
Try's gonna look at his hand and okay, that's different.
Yeah, like as soon as I come around the corner, I stop and I look at the unicorn. My hand starts to go to my hand axe, and then it disappears, and I go, wasted opportunity.
Greg, what are you doing?
So Obsidian's moved down there. From where I am, can I see any more cocoons other than the ones in that room to the right of us?
Looking across the room, you see probably in this kind of area, there seems to be quite a large grouping of cocoons at various heights.
Cool. Okay, I will pop over here. Are some of these on the ground? Is this the first one on the ground?
Say that
or
again.
At least, so is this one on this one I'll move to now on the first one on the entrance into the room? Is that on the ground, or certainly would I at least be within space?
It's suspended up. It's suspended up.
Cool.
It's a smaller cocoon size.
Cool. I suppose I can cast prestidigitation from a distance, can't I? Yeah, so I can cast it within 10 foot. So what I'll do is, even though it's sort of suspended above me, I'll just sort of clean the feet off from where I am.
Okay. Double checking. I don't believe there's one in the hopper.
Yeah, I really hope not.
So.
Nope. That one's been used. So yep, you press to digitate, and the webbing comes away, and you find another set of gnome feet.
Cool. I'll call over to Obsidian and sort of got another one.
Okay, let's trade places. So I'll go on the broom and bring him down while Shrag goes and clears the feet away of the guy that I was just kneeling at.
Cool. Swap about that then. And have a bit of a.
Alrighty.
Can I? So I see that there are some cocoons to the top, kind of right of where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And can you give me kind of an understanding of the area that we stand in?
All right. As you're walking in, you see that this looks like a bit of a hallway. The ceiling is about 20 feet, but it's that carved. It's kind of that hewn stone setup for the entryway. On the ground is a Drider that is dead. Still kind of doing everything in here is still kind of doing that death throes twitching of the nerves.
Yeah.
And then giant spider carcasses. In this room, as you come in, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 giant spider carcasses and a Drider carcass.
Wow. Okay.
And then some bits, and then you see some rubble that is there, and the entire area is coated in webbing.
Okay. Interesting.
So
right.
you can tell because you can tell that this has been fairly well established, and just the amount of webbing means that quite a few creatures were nesting in this area.
Yeah. Okay. I want to stop where the unicorn was.
Okay.
And I am going to communicate to Morin. And I have to look into actually how much I can actually communicate to her, but you can let me know what's possible. But I want her to try and get the scent of this unicorn, so it understands what unicorns smell like for future reference.
Nice one.
Okay. Animal
And
handling.
I point to the ground, and then I kind of do like a circular motion, which I typically do when I'm ready for her to get a scent.
Go ahead and do an animal handling with advantage.
Yeah. Okay.
Obsidian
That
and
works.
Will, each of you have an inspiration die you can use.
24.
Yeah. You and Morin actually came up close enough to where when the unicorn kind of poofed away.
Yeah.
So Morin is able to get just a little bit of a scent for reference.
Okay. All right, and I'm gonna start to head up towards this other cocoon here.
Okay.
To start to search it when it's time, when I can do that.
Okay. We're at this point we're gonna take a quick break, 10-minute to kind of get up, stretch, bio break, all those kinds of things. Thank you everybody for tuning in so far, all those bits and wonderful great things. Stick around, we'll be right back. And we're back. How's everyone doing? Everybody got their break and their drinks and uppers?
Feels good.
We has coffee.
Oh, yep.
Hi, Dad. Oh, that's adorable.
Always fun. Alrighty, so coming back into it. If there's anything.
He cocooned some Smurfeteflin.
Smurf goblins. That's the new way of saying it. It's not Smurf. It's
Smurf goblin.
Yeah, Smurf goblins.
Smurf goblins.
Smurf goblins. There we go.
Alrighty. So. Okay, so coming into the room here, starting with the top with Obsidian. The deep gnome that you found, that you and Shrek switch places on, he's lethargic and kind of partially unconscious as you clear away the webbing.
Okay, I'm going to do another first level cure wounds spell. I'm trying to make sure I got that in before any wild magic.
I do not see any on the docket yet.
Wait,
Maybe
cast
just
all your
Pickle's out
spells
getting
before-
coffee.
Do another one.
So he got 5 hit points back.
Okay. He starts to become a little more alert. He's still poisoned. And
So then I want to take and float him down next to the other one.
Okay.
And if I can see Anarion walking towards that big one in the corner, I'm going to yell over to him and say, nope, not that one. But can you come cure these 2 of poison, please? Since he used his paladin ability on me, I would know he can use it to cure poison.
Yep.
Okay.
So Nari, you hear that, and it's like, yeah, and you, as you get close, you see that bundle is huge. Definitely not a gnome-sized
Okay.
cocoon.
So I'll go ahead and follow the instructions that Obsidian has given and move over to, is it these 2?
Yep.
Okay. And then I will use 5 points each for lay on hands to remove their poison status.
Right.
Where's my lay on hands? Feature traits. Yep, there we go.
Poison status removed. Will, what are you doing?
I will walk by Morin and do my best to avoid petting him because I really, really want to. But
Not from the bag of tricks. Not a good one.
yeah, not from the bag of tricks. And I'll go north to some of these other ones that I'm seeing.
Okay, go ahead and move yourself up to one of the cocoons and roll me a d20.
Okay, I'm gonna start with this little grouping over here.
Okay.
10.
10. All right. You open up, you go and you take a look, and you notice the body doesn't, as you go to kind of investigate, the body doesn't move.
Okay.
And as you clear more of the webbing away, you find a very emaciated body. Go ahead and roll me a d10.
One.
It's a very emaciated Durgar.
Volkin? Found you might. I mean, I guess I shouldn't assume that all Durgar know each other. But.
Kind of like Canadians, yeah.
Avril Lavigne, right?
You know, Bob, 8. All right.
Just call
All right.
over. Go
Have
to
I checked the one that I'm at? Scoop, have I had the opportunity to do that?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a d20.
Yeah, because I'll, like, Morn and I will check these 3, but as soon as she says something to me and I hear my name, I'll head over there.
Okay.
So D20?
D20.
That's a natural one.
Yeah. It's.
What is with you rolling?
Go ahead and roll a d10.
I think your players are disappointed that you're getting all your nat ones out here instead of on their.
Yeah, exactly.
On your
That's the
stream, right?
point. That's
Hey,
the real
I
strategy.
won't tell if you
5.
won't tell.
Yeah, that's a 5.
All right. You find at a very emaciated drow.
Okay,
That's
dead or alive?
That's long dead. Actually, things are what little organic matter is left is starting to really kind of rot away, and you're seeing bits of bone.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna head over here to where she is, and I'm gonna leave more in here to continue to kind of search these ones.
Okay. All right. So this is the one she points out. That is a emaciated Durgar. It doesn't look. Check that out. Shrag, what are you doing? You're looking at one, right?
Yeah, yep. The one just south of me, I'll do the usual precipitation check, take its webbing off its feet, check what it is, make sure it's safe.
D20.
He says, hopefully running roll high. That's 9.
Give me a D10.
Nope, that's the wrong one. It is a 3.
The body you uncover is an orc.
Yeah.
That's actually that's again same kind of spider done feeding kind of state, very emaciated, just kind of shriveled husk.
Yeah, we'll rapier his throat. We'll make sure that's not going to come back and affect us.
Double tap.
All right, Anari. No, that's right. You told me you were doing that. Volkin, have Morin do the D20.
Yeah, that's much better. 13.
All right, go ahead and give me a D10.
1.
All right. Morin finds a Durgar in the webbing as well.
Okay. Dead?
And he's actually kind of subtly twitching, but he's not in a good state.
Okay. So at that point, she would make some sort of noise, like some grunting and some patting at it, so I would know. But I'm gonna look at the Durgar that I just that Will just uncovered.
Yep.
Dead.
You got a 13, right? On the D20 or the 9?
Sorry. This was for Will though, right? Will had already uncovered this one?
Will found a dead Durgar.
Okay, so it's dead. When she called me over?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then I'll head back over to the other spot. Once I notice it's dead, I'll place a hand on its chest, and kind of bow my head, and then head back over to where this one is. Is it the one up here?
That one right there.
Yeah. Okay. Then I head back over up here.
All right. Obsidian. Move yourself over to your next one you want to check.
And are these hanging from the ceiling?
They're all at various points of being suspended.
Okay. So if they're up above my reach, then obviously I'll be using the broom. If they're on the ground, I'll be on the ground.
Yeah.
And I rolled a nat 20, and on a D10 I rolled a 7 if that's also needed.
All right. Nat 20, you find a gnome.
Okay.
That is in good shape.
Okay. So does he's one of our group, right? So
yeah,
does he
he's
speak?
in fairly decent shape. The poison isn't as strong on him, so he's a little more. He twitches a lot more when you kind of point at him.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna carefully bring him down to his friends over there. If he's good, I'm gonna save my spells for the others.
Okay. Will?
I rolled a 13 on the 20 and a 4 on the 10.
Okay. Oh, this next one that you check is a larger cocoon, and as you clear away the webbing, you notice fur.
What kind of fur?
Kind of like a dull white gray fur. It's humanoid. As you kind of work your way around, it does twitch a little bit as you move, but it's very lethargic.
Does it remind me of Obsidian's fur? Is it a tabaxi?
No, it's not tabaxi fur. Go ahead and give me a nature or history. History because of your research in the Underdark. Nature because it's a creature.
24.
Okay. As you clear it away, you realize this is a creature called a Quilith. It's a kind of a large humanoid type of creature that dwells in the Underdark.
Are they aggressive?
They can be. They're typically used as servants, but they're also tribal.
Do I feel like I should wake it up?
based on that, it's probably a good idea that you don't. I mean, it's not like Umber Hulk Savage, but these things are intelligent creatures. So, yeah, I'll leave that to your discretion on what you want to do.
Anarion, because he's kind of close to me, right? He's close to me.
Yeah, he's close. Him and Volkin are kind of equidistant from where you are.
Anarion, Volkin. This one is alive. What should we do with it?
I hear my voice again. I'm sorry, I hear my voice. I hear my name again. But Anarion's heading over there.
I believe. I don't know. Is Anari, you respond to that voice as well?
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Yeah, when I hear Will call, I'm gonna guess that she probably may have found another gnome that needs, recovery from the poison. So I'll go ahead and head over that way.
And as you come over and you see that what she's found is not a gnome. It's considerably larger than a gnome. But it's also currently unconscious and kind of and very groggily, just kind of there.
And again, I'm guessing I'll get the same opportunity for
Yes.
history. What was it, history or nature?
History or nature?
I would just tell you what it is.
Yeah, that probably works better.
And
Tells you
I
it's
was
a
gonna say,
Quailoth.
based on that information, what would I would have known more about it, or no?
That would be a history check
Okay,
for your
so
own personal knowledge.
21.
Very very similar to what I said previously to Will. It's a humanoid creature. They live in family groups. They are a resident of the Underdark. Certain drow societies use them as servants.
And that's what I wanted to key on. So it was, I would know that it was a drow servant.
Potentially. You're
Okay.
not sure if this particular one is, but you do know that they are somewhat associated sometimes as slave labor for drow.
From the Vengeance Paladin perspective of getting rid of the evils, whether they serve the greater or not, I'll go ahead and give it the coup de grace.
Okie dokie.
All right. Moving on.
Shrag?
Okay, I've moved around the corner to that one, so usual thing again. So it's the one just south of the doorway into that room. Precipitation of the feet. Let's see what we get. And that's going to be 20.
We still only found 2 Smurf goblins.
That's a 13.
3.
Okay.
And 13
And the one we
followed by
already
a
had,
10.
so we have 4 total.
13 and a 10. You find another deep gnome.
Oh,
Cool.
5.
So it's 5 now.
We're at half.
Okay, I'll use a precipitation to clear the rest of the webs away, and then guys, got one.
Okay, is he on the ground or is he in the air?
Shrag probably would have tried to lower him down a little bit. I mean, Shrag could, for the sake of brevity, you guys can reach whichever one you're inspecting, or that way we just keep moving with this. But
Okay.
know that visually thinking, they're all suspended at various heights. Some are higher than others. So
Right.
it takes you, we'll say for the sake of getting to the roll and clearing away the webbing, you found some way to get to the body or get the body down. All right, so Shrag found another one. He said Will. Anari, you just dealt with the Quailoth. Volkin, what do you...
So I want to assess this Durgar's state.
Give me a medicine
while
check?
Morin checks out this other one here.
Okay.
Jeez, man, it's not good today. That's an 8.
You can tell he's been there a little while. He's looking partially emaciated.
Okay.
And he's also currently and he's got a pretty heavy dose of poison, where it's like you go and it's like you move the eye and the eye just kind of sits there rolling up in the back of the head, and it's extremely dilated. When you do finally get an idea of the pupil, all the indications that it tell you he's heavily sedated with poison. And looking at his skin and complexion, he's very pale, very emaciated, not quite dead yet, but pretty close. Figure probably not too much longer before you would die.
Okay. And then what about the other one with Morn? The other cocoon?
Give me the D20 on Morn.
3
Go and roll the D10.
and a 1.
Yeah, you find that that is another Duragar that is dead, heavily emaciated and rotting away.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cast Cure Wounds on the one that I have.
Okay. All right, so you cast the Cure Wounds. You see some color come back to the face. He starts to move a little bit, but he's still extremely kind of groggy and unconscious. You figure it's probably going to take a bit more to get him to a conscious state.
Yeah,
whether
that's
it's
an 11 by the way for
healing.
that's an 11. That's 11 points of healing.
Nice.
The Cure Wounds.
Okay.
Solid.
Obsidian, you're up.
Okay, first thing I want to do is hearing Shrag say that he's found a gnome. I want to take a look at him and see how he looks visually.
He's kind of lethargic, a lot like some of the other ones you found.
All right, so let me see. I'm going to go ahead and fly back on over to him, cast Cure Wounds on him, and give him 6 hit points back. And then go back to the gnome that I was, or the cocoon that I was working on.
All right, go and roll it.
I rolled a 4 on the D20 and a 7 on the D10.
The cocoon you find is another Duergar, but this one looks different. This one seems to be encased in like a metal suit. But he's
he
definitely
moving at
dead.
all? Okay. I want to pop back this way far enough that I can see Volkin and say, Volkin, there is a Duergar here that is heavily encased in a metal suit. Would you like to take a look at this?
I'm assuming that's undercommon.
Or a very broken undercommon. You hear
Very
as you hear them,
We know
those
a
that
little bit.
can speak it clearly, you can get it, but the others, when they attempt, it's very broken. It's like first level Spanish.
Yeah.
Understand level of it.
Yep.
So the helm
Okay,
allows
so
us
we're-
to understand everything perfectly, but we can't speak it. But we've picked up a little bit of speech being down here.
Okay. All right. I which direction are you pointing to? Where is this one?
I would be pointing over in this direction.
Okay, so I've moved. Are we paying attention to speed at this point, Steve?
No, we're working
Okay.
through checking
Okay.
all the bodies. So it's whatever time it takes to move from body to body.
Okay. When I get there, what do I see?
You see is you see a Duergar that's been dead, but again, he's heavily encased in the armor.
Do I know what this armor represents?
Yes, you do. One moment. Is what's referred to as a Duergar hammerer.
Okay.
He's encased in a suit of armor to help with mining and whatnot.
Okay.
You know that the armor typically causes those encased in it a lot of pain. So this is somebody who's probably upset someone, and this was their punishment, was to become a hammerer.
Okay. I explained that to Obsidian. But long dead?
Yes, he's dead.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Okay. I explained that and I head back to Morn.
Okay. All right, Will.
A 2 and a 2.
2 gives you another dead Grimlock.
Okay.
Alrighty. Alright. Shrag?
Okay, I've moved around the one to the sort of anti-clockwise south one I was looking at previously, and it was a nat 20 and an 8.
Nat 20 gives you another deep mill.
Whee! Awesome, we shall clean off the webs, get him down, and call up to Obsidian and go, I've got another one!
Okay. And I'll fly over to him and go ahead and cast Cure Wounds on him.
Okay.
Only 1 + 1. 2. Sorry.
It's okay. It's enough. It's enough to kind of get them on their feet and moving. Anari?
So I'll move to the one that I'm next to here, and the D20 was a 16, the D10 was a 7.
Can you ping which one you were looking at?
Sure, that one right there.
Oh, okay. Said a what were the rolls?
16 and a 7.
All right, you find another you find another Duragar that's in there, and he's alive. He kind of twitches a little bit, but again, as you clear more of the webbing away, you see the armor that's encasing the body. There's only a little bit of skin that's visible.
So I wasn't obviously in the room with Obsidian and Volkin when they checked that one.
No.
And I wouldn't have heard anything that was said. So I'll call over to Volkin and say another Duragar in metal armor and appears to be alive.
I'll explain the situation.
Okay.
And I'll head. The one that I'm at is stable, you said?
Yeah, he's now stable. Actually, yeah, you found one that's stable, one that's dead. Yeah, so yeah, he's stable.
Okay, and these hammers, are they considered like cursed or is it a bit of a faux pas? Like what's the? Let me put this. I'll put it simply. Are they? Are their lives so miserable that death is better than life in this situation?
Yeah, you know that as far as Duragar society, when someone is put encased in this hammerer suit, that they are perpetually in pain as they go about. I mean, the suit kind of has its own like heat source in it, which causes irritation and pain. And then the fact that he's got these giant hammers for hands. They're used for mining, like carving out tunnels and really kind of forced labor. But they're in a perpetual state of pain while they're in this suit. And
where's their skin?
Typically the head and a little bit of the neck are the main areas that are exposed.
Yeah.
You might see a little bit in a few joints. And this one, because of the fact he was captured, there's some bits of the armor that have been kind of torn away as from the attack. But that's the only little bits that are exposed. And you can see the massive fang marks on parts of the exposed neck and clavicle area where the poison was injected.
Okay, I'm gonna place a hand on his chest. It's a male. Yeah. Place a hand on his chest, and I'm going to bend down and I'm going to whisper something in his ear.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to place my hand over his eyes and draw my hand axe and embed it in its forehead.
Okay.
Seeing his response to this, kind of taken aback a little bit, Anarion asks, should we relieve any others we find in the same manner?
Only the armored ones.
Only the armored ones. And then I'll call out to the rest of the party, explaining in common, the armored Durgar are to be released of life.
Start their next
Eh.
chapter.
Nara, you have an inspiration die you can use at some point.
Thank you.
And is this armor like affixed permanently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think it. I mean, for the Warhammer, if you're familiar with like Warhammer 40k, and this is more speaking to the audience, the I just lost the word. I know. I'm thinking the word. The dreadnoughts.
Engines? Oh no! Oh yeah.
The concept of the dreadnought, where the body has
Yeah.
been the
Oh, okay, got
part
it.
of the body's encased in this armor. It can never get out.
Yeah.
But
Got
think
it.
of this as kind of like a Durgar version of a dreadnought,
Cool, like it.
only not as big.
Yeah, not nearly as big and boxy. Yeah, got it. And cool, really. But anyways, go on.
All right.
Dreadnoughts are awesome.
So Volkin, go ahead and roll for Morin's next raccoon he's checking.
Yeah, she's gonna head up here. Natural 20.
Hey,
That's another deep gnome.
nice.
Okay. And alive?
Yep, alive and doesn't appear to be too heavily sedated.
Okay. Once again, I'll head back over here. I'm assuming what I did there was my action.
Yeah.
I can't search another one.
Yeah, you can go and search another one. That way we can get kind of work through the room.
Yeah. That is another natural 20.
All right.
Boom.
The dice are back.
Amazing.
So these don't need healing or anything like that. They're
They need healing
fresh?
because they're, but the thing is, they're not. The big thing is the natural 20 means they're not heavily sedated.
Got it.
So they get a little. They're not as far along as some of the others.
I'm not going to use healing on these ones.
Okay. Obsidian, your next one.
Muted. 12 and a 3.
12 and a 3. You find the body of an orc that is heavily sedated and in that halfway zone between death and life.
I'm going to go ahead and put it out of its misery.
Okay. All right. Will?
19 and a 3.
19 gives you another orc, but this one is pretty. This one seems to be pretty good state. Heavily sedated from poison, but not as fed on as some of the others.
All right. I'll decide what to do with this guy while everybody else is going.
Okay, Shrag, what about you?
Okay, move down to the next one anti-clockwise, and we got a 4 and a 4.
4 and a 4. You
Yep.
find yeah, you weren't there. You find a Quailoth that's dead and quite emaciated. The fur, the little stuff, huffs of fur and whatnot are on there, but the skin is all withered away and is dead.
Cool, awesome. We shall move on to the next one. Oh, sorry, we're going to do a couple in a round, are we?
One round, one per person going around.
Cool, awesome. I guess I'll move to that one
So,
then. That's me
Anari,
done.
you're up.
Okay, the inspiration is D4, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll add that to the d20 roll. So that is going to be a 18 on the d20 and a 10 on the d10.
You find another gnome.
Okay.
That's unconscious and sedated with poison.
So that's going to be this one.
Ping it again
So-
for me. I was on.
Yeah, sorry. It's the one between the two poles because I figure Willhelminia can take the one just north of that. So I will do lay on hands.
Okay.
For the gnome. And 5 points.
All right, and that removes his poison condition.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
Is he like how badly off is he? I mean, I know they were all injured in being taken, but
He's stable. He's definitely. I mean, he could definitely use a long rest.
okay. So, but the laying on hands will at least stabilize him to the point that he's not going to deteriorate further.
Yeah, and it removes the poison, and he starts to wake up and kind of move
Okay.
about a bit. Just a little, again, a little sluggish, but you know, he wasn't there that long, so not in terrible shape. All right, Volkin.
Okay, I'm gonna check the one just above me here.
Okay.
It's only a 5 and a 6.
You find that one is a large cocoon, and as you whip it away, you find a dead Umber Hulk.
Okay, and then Morin's gonna check the one beside Anarion.
Okay.
That's a 7 and a 4.
You find another one of the Durgar hammer. Morin finds another one of the Durgar hammerers. Only
Okay.
this one is dead.
Okay.
Scoop, sorry, I lost track. So how many gnomes have we recovered now?
I was
One
just counting
second.
that
I'll
up.
let you know. I believe you just need one more for your
One more,
group.
right? That's what I thought.
Oh. Wow, I was way off on my count.
Does it not include the one that was originally hiding? Is that the thing?
Yeah, I did include him in the count,
Cool.
but there's still a potential
Yeah,
you
I
could
see
find
them there, okay.
additional ones from a previous thing, because you guys know based on talking with the gnome enclave that they've had this problem for weeks, and they've had people so there's a chance you could find more than what you initially lost in your party. But you won't know
awesome.
until you go through all of the cocoons.
Yeah, awesome, nice.
Yeah.
one.
Alrighty, so Obsidian,
19 and a 6.
19.
And
You've-
Volkin's got her inspiration from Yokai Buddy.
Thank you, Yokai.
You find a
Thanks, Yokai.
another Umber Hulk. Only this one is alive. It's just unconscious from the poison.
Uh-oh.
Shrag, come here.
Wow, what do you want?
Umber Hulk. Alive. Umber Hulk.
I shall move over with Shrag. Are we going to coup de grace at the same time then? Make sure we really get him.
Uh-huh. So I'm going to do cast Green Flame Blade.
Okay.
Yep, I'll do the same, and we'll kick in from either side.
All right. So you guys both cast your green flame blades. You both stab. The Umber Hulk dies, and there's just a little bit of fire that wafts off the web and starts to kind of trickle out and follow for about 20 feet, and then starts to peter out.
Me like it.
I triggered you.
Shrag likes the fire.
Will?
A 7 and a 4.
Move your token to the next one.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're doing this one, right, Will?
Yeah, because we already did the one I'm next to.
Just checking.
Did you
Yeah.
you left the orc there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. She stood there torn for a while, and then said, like, just kind of leaned to him and said, "I'm sorry. This is not your day, but I cannot help you."
Okay.
And I get up and go to the next one.
Next one you find is another Quillith, but this one's dead.
All right, moving on.
Alrighty. Greg?
So the one that I had to move around to, I'd rolled a. Let me check that for it. It was a 16, then a 1.
16 and a 1. You find a Durgar, and he is alive but unconscious due to the poison.
Cool. Based on what I've been told by the others, he's not encased in the big steel armor.
No.
Okay, in which case I'll just leave him. That is for Volkin to deal with.
Alrighty. Nari?
All right. So are there any other cocoons that we have not checked that I can see in this space that we're in?
There's one right here.
Okay. Is that the only one?
That's the only one in that particular space. That's
Okay,
left
can
in
I-
that particular space.
Can I get the deep gnome and take him with me to come down here? Because again, we're trying to get the deep gnomes together, and I think that they were being collected down here.
Yeah, I'm
So-
moving them down there just for my memory.
Okay, excellent. Then I will go ahead and check this one, and that is going to be, come on, D&D Beyond. That is going to be a 14 on the 20 and a 7 on the 10.
All right. You find another Durgar hammerer, but he is alive.
Based on Vulcan's previous instructions, I'll try to imitate how he had done his. The hand on the chest first, then covering the eyes. Since I'm not going to use hand axes, though, I will take a dagger and then just give him the coup de grace to the throat.
Real quick, give me a perception.
Okay. That is going to be a dirty 20.
Okay. With that, you did hear what Vulcan had said to the previous one. So in your imitation of the same kind of ritual, you do your best to reproduce it and send him off.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And whisper the words that I heard Vulcan say to this hammerer.
Yep.
And that will be what I will do.
Alrighty. So that brings us to Vulcan.
All right. So this room is clear.
Yep, that room is clear.
So I am going to head. I'm actually going to stop at this Durgar that's here.
Okay.
Is that Durgar conscious, like able to speak, or is it still pretty worse for wear?
He's groggy, but he's like semi-conscious enough to enough where he doesn't freak out when you come back and check on him.
Right.
He sees another person of his race, so he's kind of there.
Okay. I try to ask him how he arrived here, and what he has seen and what he remembers.
He was part of a hunting party that had been patrolling the city.
Okay.
And they were ambushed by what he thinks was a beholder. and as they turned to run away, then it was the spiders and the Driders. And when he refers to the Driders, he refers to them in kind of very colorful terms that Duergar often refer to Drow.
Yeah.
Especially the abominations that are Driders.
Yeah.
But that was like a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, I spit when he talks about the Drow and the Driders.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said there's a beholder that he was hunting or searching for. What was that part?
No, they were searching and they came across what he thought was a beholder.
Yeah.
And obviously that is a turn and run away kind of situation.
Yeah.
And that's when they were ambushed by the spiders.
Okay.
Give me a nature check.
Yeah, I will. And is this regarding the beholder?
Yes.
Is the beholder an aberration?
Yes.
Then that is my other favorite enemy. Recall information. So can I? It's an intelligence check. Yeah, which is a history. So can I? So I get advantage on it.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's not good. Ooh, a 17 and a natural 1. I will take the 17. That is an 18.
In the area that you've seen, you saw the gas spore that was on the ground.
Yeah.
And then listening to his story and piecing it together, it seems like the tactic was to use the gas spore, which at a distance or to the uninformed looks like a beholder. That's probably what freaked him out. Because as you through the course of the conversation, ask him to describe the beholder.
Yeah.
And as he describes it, it doesn't line up with your knowledge of beholders.
Right.
And then seeing the gas spore, so you kind of figure out, okay, this was a tactic. It's actually quite clever.
Okay, and then I know because I'm quite interested in beholders, and I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to how do I know if this poison wears off over time?
Yeah, the spider poison does wear off after a while.
Okay.
It has the paralysis effect, and then as it goes, unless it's routinely re-injected to keep the enzymes for digest. The way spiders eat, the enzymes would digest the body from the inside out, but it has to continually be reapplied in order as it progresses along. You can tell from this guy and the fact that he says he's been in several. It's been a few weeks since he was captured.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going
in
to.
Time.
Yeah. I'm going to get up and nod and just walk away. As I believe in survival of the fittest. And then Morin's going to check this one down here. That's an 11 and a 4.
That one right there. Now that one was already checked.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah. Then the one over here, was this one checked?
No. 11 and a 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
That one in the corner that you just pinged, we did look at that one. That's a
this one that I'm pinging right now is the the Umber Hulk.
Yeah. Here, let me
change out the.
I think that one was done as well, because that was actually one of the. We found 2 gnomes in a row, so I think that one just inside the room with the pillars.
And I think this one was also done.
Okay, so these have all been checked.
Yeah, that one's a dead Duergar. These 2 are Umbra Hulks.
Yeah, this one hasn't, but the one I'm picking now has not been done.
But you're there, right?
Yeah, I am right there.
So there are no other ones that nobody's around that haven't been checked?
There are 4 left. What I can see.
I was going to say if I can kind of see Volkin kind of looking around for others to check, I'll yell it out in undercommon. Check the room to the south.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to head down this way with more, and we'll move together after I have that conversation.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I can't check one because I did all that stuff, but I'll have her check this one.
Okay.
And again, that was an 11 and a 4.
That is another Quillith.
Okay.
And it is alive, but just barely.
Yeah, I finish it off.
Okay.
And as I'm walking to, I want to be searching for tracks. What kind of creatures have come through here? Are they all the ones that we've seen? Is there anything out of the ordinary? That kind of thing as well. As I kind of cross from cocoon to cocoon, I'm also looking at tracks and.
Okay. Give
Paying attention to all
me. This area has been pretty heavily run by spiders and driders. The little bits of you don't really see anything else. You can tell that this is kind of like been their fortified kind of home for months.
Sometime. Yeah. Okay.
And you do see little bits of like yellow mold that has grown up in areas.
Yep.
Especially around the statue in the previous room, some bits in some of the corners along some of the some of the rubble.
Okay. And what's that structure at the bottom there? At the base of the pillars lead to? Yeah.
It is a dry fountain.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so there's one left in that room. Crag has got one there.
Okay, I've pre-rolled for those. Do you want the rolls for those ones?
Let me.
I've got one more.
Yeah, let me get Will real quick.
Go.
Okay, so they're all in that room to the south. As I walk by this room, the light from the crystal kind of catches my eye, and I want to just inspect in this room because this is where they were all kind of trying to escape to.
Okay.
So I want to grab that crystal and just kind of look around in here, see if I see anything else.
As you go to approach the crystal and kind of navigate your way through all that fungi, the crystal is kind of a natural growing formation right there, and it emanates a little dull light. You also notice that to the north there's a tunnel that leads further on. But you're not quite sure how much further it goes.
Can I hear anything or from that direction, or feel any like airflow going that way?
Give me a perception.
Yeah. 17.
Okay. You hear you hear so very faintly. You hear what sounds like muffled screaming.
From one individual or multiples?
Yeah. One individual. It's kind of a labored, muffled, very low kind of thing. It's like it's behind, like if you were to stand away, it's like somebody behind a door and you're standing away from the door, and just that kind of muffled, but it's that high pitch panic kind of scream.
Alrighty then.
Drake, what were your rolls again?
Cliffhanger. So the first one I rolled for that one directly south of me was a 15 and a 9.
15 and a 9 gives you a unconscious deep gnome.
Sweet. Do you want me to roll through the one while I'm down here for the sake of brevity?
For sake of brevity, go for it.
Cool. It's an 11 and a 6.
11 and a 6. That is another Umber Hulk that is barely alive.
Cool. Okay, we shall leave the Umber Hulk to struggle, and I'll motion to Obsidian we found in the gnome.
Okay.
I think that's everything down here.
All right. So Scoob, for mine, I have a 14 and a 4.
Okay. You find another Quillith that is unconscious.
Okay. I am going to leave him, and then I'm going to fly on down to the deep gnome that Shragnaz found, cast Cure Wounds for 7 points of healing. And that is my last first level spell slot.
Alrighty. Anari?
Okay. Since the Driders were trying to escape through this room, I'm also like Will, I'm curious about what is here, and I'm gonna follow her in. Would I also hear the screaming?
Give me a perception.
Okay. That is going to be a dirty 20.
You hear the same thing.
Okay. Can I identify language, or it's just random screaming?
It's that.
Is
it's
it
that,
words?
It's that sheer panic, fight or flight kind of terrified scream, but it's muffled. Like you can tell it's behind a door and at a distance.
I'll look over at Will and say, do you think we should check this out ourselves or wait for the rest?
We should wait.
All right. So then I'll wait. Wait with her.
Vulcan?
Yeah. This one that I can see just on the edge of my pinging isn't working for some reason here. So just on the edge of my sight here at the bottom to the left of the screen.
Okay.
Has that one been checked yet?
No, it hasn't.
Okay. So I'm gonna send Morin over to this one.
Okay.
And I am gonna head over to that one. And is this back out into the open area, or is this another room?
Oh, you're still. Oh, right there. That one has been checked. That was one of the. That was a. You just see that's actually been kind of burned away, kind of webbing.
Okay. And the one down here as well has been checked.
The one down there, you see that's another tunnel that leads out.
Yeah. But that cocoon's been checked.
Yes, that was. You see a.
Okay.
Very. In that area you're standing, you see that there is no webbing on the wall. There is a heavy charring.
Yeah.
And what you see there is is around the web is in the webbing. You see a very burnt, well done, and crispy body of a Grimlock.
Okay.
Judging from that area, give me an Arcana check.
Uh, 5.
It looks like a fire happened at random, but you're not quite sure which kind of fire spell. But pretty good guess it's probably some type of fireball that went off right there. And then you see a set of stairs that descend down.
Okay.
To another area.
Okay.
And
So I rolled
none
a
of us
10.
see him heading that way, right? None of us see him heading towards those stairs, right?
Nope. You all I mean, Obsidian, you went down to check you said you moved to check the last gnome there, so you wouldn't have you would have lost sight of him as he rounded the corner and was checking those.
Okay, so I got a 10 and a 4 for Morin for this one.
All right. 10. Another Quillith body, dead.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna head back to the open area. Those are all of the ones in that area, right?
Yep, that's all the cocoon. That's all of the cocoons.
Okay. So I'm just gonna head back up into this open area with everyone else.
All right, crawling over the various bodies that are there. I have them on the GM layer, so it doesn't get so cluttered.
Yeah.
But there are bodies everywhere.
It got really busy.
Where is everyone else right now?
Oh,
right there. They're over here.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
Obsidian and Shrag, you guys are checking that gnome. Vulcan, you in that room, you see there's a Umber Hulk that's unconscious and kind of there.
Yeah.
And then you see another Duergar that's been exposed, but is kind of sitting there unconscious, kind of you see light breathing,
Yeah.
and then you see there's another Quillith that's been partially exposed and just kind of left there in its
Okay.
unconscious state.
Okay, and currently in this room, all I see is the goblin. At the
There's
bottom there.
the goblin, obsidian, a gnome, and then along the back wall is nearly a dozen gnomes that are all in various stages of exhaustion and tired, and a couple of them look a little more spry than the others, but they definitely looking a little worse. They're definitely worse for wear as they're starting to gather themselves and get ready to move on.
How do they react to me?
A little bit of fear.
Yeah.
But it's one of those is like I'm really scared to see a Duergar wandering around.
Yeah.
But also it's I'm so exhausted I just don't care.
Okay. Cool.
And I'll take a moment to explain to them, like, hey, he's helping us. He might look like that group, but he's different.
Did you go back down?
Oh right, I'm like across the.
Yeah, you and Anari are standing and looking at this tunnel that extends on, and you're hearing this muffled, high-pitched kind of scream.
Could I have
every
done
so
that?
often it kind of disappears a little bit, like there's more distance, and then it comes back, like something's being chased.
Could I have done that before when they first started seeing him, or is it too late for that?
We can go with that.
Okay.
I'm also gonna find Anari, just because obviously Anarion's the one that I've been speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure I trust the goblin just yet.
That's
and I'm not even sure I've ever seen a tabaxi. So,
I'm here too.
yes, yes, you are.
Definitely can't trust humans.
Definitely can't trust humans. Are they back up here somewhere? Oh yeah, okay.
Yep, they're
Okay, so
right.
I'm
They're
gonna start
right up
heading up this
here
way.
at an entranceway that you see a Drider corpse is laying on the stair, laying there, partially blocking the doorway. He's been pushed out of the way a little bit as Will and Anari have stepped through, and they're both staring at the pathway that's leading north.
Okay. All right.
And after they tell you, you can kind of hear that you can hear the same thing coming from the distance.
Okay. So through that doorway and then north, like up.
Yes.
And I can't tell what sort of, does it sound human? Does it sound bestial?
Give me a survival check.
Oh yeah.
And you still have an inspiration if you haven't used it yet.
Yeah, no. Is this aberration or beast related?
No.
Okay, so it's only a 11.
It sounds humanoid but small. Like potentially a gnome.
I relay that to Narian.
Question.
Answer.
Does it sound like the Shriekers?
No. You've actually not heard a shrieker.
No, we did when we first came down here.
No.
No.
You bypassed them, remember?
You bypassed them. You got your nature lesson from Nat and Shrag, but you actually had not heard what they sound like.
We didn't trigger them, yeah.
Sorry, I'm mixing up my campaigns.
I'll nod my thanks to Volkin for the information, and then relay that on to Willhelminia also, and I'll explain in Undercommon to Volkin. We'll probably wait to investigate that with the rest of the party, but we should be going relatively soon, I would think.
All right. So Obsidian and Shrag, obviously you get the gnome, give him some healing. So now you have you now have the dozen gnomes. Not going to need a map anymore. This. So you all get the gnomes, get them all kind of together. They're in various states of grogginess. Here, the shrieking. You share information. You know there is something down the way that is terrified and sounds like it's being chased. I'm not sure what. What do you wish to do?
Shrag's going to
I would
wander
like-
over to Will and start pulling on like the hem of her clothes and go,
Look, shinies, Driders, swords, armor, shinies.
Does Shraggy want to loot the bodies?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right,
Shinies.
let's loot the bodies.
You find a +1 longsword. You find a couple of bows, long bows, arrows. Not a lot of coin. Maybe probably between the Driders, probably about 30 gold at most. And then scattered about through some of the other places is again not a lot of coin. Probably another 50 gold total in the area. Then of course and various other basic weapons. Nothing of any nothing of any major value except for the +1 sword, some hand axes, and whatnot. But that's it.
I look
Oh.
at.
3 potions of greater healing.
Oh, nice.
Useful.
I look at Volkin and then at Anarion. Will you ask Volkin if he knows what that sound is? I feel like he spent more time down here than we have.
I'll relay an undercommon what Will has asked.
Sorry, what was the question?
If you know what that shrieking, screaming is.
Yeah. I relay what I came up with earlier, which was that it was a small creature of sorts.
Okay. That's all you know? Okay.
Yeah. That's all I know, right, Scoob?
Yeah. Obsidian, I need you to roll a d100 for one of your healing spells.
Uh-oh.
There was a wild magic.
There
on
was a
the
mild
book, I
magic on the
forgot it.
table. Oh man.
Oh dear, 51.
A spectral shield hovers near you for the next minute, granting you a +2 bonus to your AC and immunity to magic missile.
Oh, that would have been nice.
So as you go around, you had this floating with you, and then it vanishes.
So
You
But
just see Bill standing, like, staring at that cave entrance.
once
Exhausted, but something needs our help.
once the party's all together, relay the information of what Will and I have heard, and then
Cool.
let everybody know so that we're all on the same page. And then
Okay.
Anarion's going to say, I think we should move quickly if we're going to take action.
Well, what I'll suggest is
Oh.
before we go down next, we're in no real fit state to take on anything else, and we don't want to endanger the gnomes any further. Is we send Nat off very quickly to go and scout, because she
Cool.
can relay back to me what we can see, and if it's something we want to take on or help, we can do. But if not, I can just zip her out of existence and we can play out.
so
'cause
how
I also
far
don't
can
wanna
that go
leave these
away from you?
gnomes.
Exactly.
Sorry, what was that, Scoob?
How far can that go from you?
She can go up to 300 feet away from me, and she's got dark vision 60 foot, and I can see what she sees.
All right. As you send Nat out, after a little while, you start to get a vision of what Nat finds. Nat finds a makeshift metal door, double doors that are closed, and you hear the screaming from behind the door. And that's where we'll end for this week and pick up next week.
What a cliffhanger!
No!
You're taking too many lessons from that Jason guy.
You're cliffhanging strong, my friend.
Hey, I gotta say, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for hanging out with the Rome Smith peep. So this is how that just kind of trickles out in the pond effect. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all of the cast
Thank
for
you.
spending your Saturday morning with us. Thank you to all the bits and everything that's going on. That list is massive and impressive. It takes resources to do these things, so please continue to show your support. I also really want to encourage, check us out, become a patron, get early access on things, exclusive access on things, and an FYI for if you've subbed on our YouTube channel, I'm going to tell you, there is going to be a massive, massive content drop next week. I have got all of last month's Shadow Watch episodes, including last week's episode, are all queued up, ready to start coming out. All the podcast, all the season finale stuff for Challenge Accepted. So if you haven't subbed, sub, and I apologize if you get bombarded with notifications next week, but I'm getting all that content out for you guys. If you're on Patreon, you'll get early access on that stuff before it goes public. And we will. And tonight is Challenge Accepted Season 3 premiere. See where our party goes next. And anything you guys want to say? Real quick, give you the floor to plug anything.
No, it's all good.
Thank
Just
you
a
for
big
hanging
thanks.
with us, Jason.
Yeah, just a big thanks.
You're
to
welcome,
Jason for coming
guys.
on.
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
This was a lot of fun. It's been a while, so it's nice to just kind of jump in and play. I really enjoy it.
We hope
And
you'll
yeah, I'm
stick
gonna try
around.
and be here. Yeah, I'm gonna try and be here next Saturday. So
That'd
Gotta
be
find
awesome.
out what the
Awesome.
stream is.
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I do. That was a blast, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes.
Don't
And
forget to
just actually, what I will plug is our Smith Guardians and how awesome you guys are on a regular basis. And I mean, these folks are the ones that make everything happen behind the scenes. It's a thankless job, hopefully an enjoyable job most of the time. But yeah, I just can't say enough how much I appreciate you guys. So playing with you guys and doing this is my pleasure and an honor.
We're all
Lot of
one
fun.
big
Thank
family,
you.
Jason. All one big family. It's all good, man.
Yes.
Cool.
With that, don't forget, check out Rome Smith on Monday nights for Tides of Wildmount, episode 9.
I think 10. I don't know. I'm the worst.
I think it is 9. Yeah,
9?
Is it 9?
I
Or is
believe
it
9
10?
is coming up.
I'm gonna find out right now. I'm gonna tell you.
I'm 90% sure we just finished 8. 9 is coming up.
Can't even remember how old I am half the time, so.
Yeah, 9 is coming up. You're right.
Episode 9, there's going to be surprises,
Yeah.
I can tell you that. So tune in to
Yeah,
check
it's gonna
that
be
out.
Great. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
What could it be?
I'm not telling you. You'll have to check out on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, over on Rome Smith, twitch.tv/RomeSmith.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be
With
fun.
that, everyone, have a great night. Have a great afternoon. Love each other. Be safe. And we will see you on our next stream. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Wow.
Bye.